And here's the thing. He says, well, but I'm not sure. How do you make sure, right? So here's what I want you to do. This is what we teach the paramedics, how to be sure. You go home and you practice. You tell your loved one, either your husband or your wife, get on the floor. I need to assess breathing. Even better, do it while they're sleeping. Okay? But warn them, get permission. Don't surprise them in the middle of the night. Yeah, because you have to get really close and you have to open up their chest. So don't surprise them. Let them know this is what you're going to do. And you need to practice. Because if you don't practice, you will not know. And I get it, the person is in bed, it's soft, right? But because she's stationary, you will see the chest rise slightly, and you need to understand, practice, so that in real life it happens, you know what it sounds like. Very subtle, but you will still hear it. Practice, practice, practice. The paramedics, they're on the job, and the paramedics, they don't carry around special type of equipment, you know. Hook it up, press the power button. Yeah, the LCD says breathing. They don't have that. They do the exact same technique. With a slight modification, we also tell them to keep the pulse like this. But it's essentially the same thing. Okay? And the reason why they're sure is because they practice. And you guys, I strongly suggest you guys practice also, because in a real life situation, I guarantee you, you will not be sure if you don't practice. And you don't want to make the wrong call. Okay? Another common question.
So if you're doing CPR on a person who's not breathing, and you don't know how much force you have to put because...
Thank you for asking. Because you're not sure how deep 5 or 6 centimeters is, right?
Yeah.
And also, you don't even have a tape measure. How would you know?
Yeah, and you can break or you even fracture the...
You can do so much damage. Okay, so that's a two-part question. Let me first answer your worry about doing damage. As a first aider, I get it that we're supposed to promote recovery, okay? But here's what I always teach my students whenever they're worried. We're not doctors, we're not God, we didn't create the problem. You try your best to help that person. If you do more damage, you do more damage. Very similar to somebody who has maybe glass embedded, and you are going to try your best to stop the bleeding, maybe wiggle around, you know, try not to push the glass in further, do more damage. But unfortunately, if you can't stop the bleeding, okay,
You'll die.
you just have to grab a cloth, put pressure, stop the bleeding. Okay? In St. John Ambulance, we don't teach you, we don't tell you to use a tourniquet, unlike Red Cross. Okay? St. John Ambulance, only direct pressure, and that's the standard from WSIB. Okay? So unfortunately, you have no choice. You're going to grab a cloth, you're going to stop the bleeding. If you do further damage, let the doctor fix it. Your point, your sole purpose is to keep the person viable. Okay? Viable means keep the blood flowing, keep giving him oxygen, make sure he doesn't lose blood, and that's all you can do. Don't worry about doing more damage. That's right. And the second thing is, how deep do you go? Okay? So here's the thing. You are supposed to go 5 to 6 centimeters, which is about this much. Yeah? Not this much. This is quite deep.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. Very, very rigid. You are cracking ribs. But your question is, what does that mean? Like, how exactly, you know, even if I tape measure, I don't know how to measure. So what I say to that is, when you're not sure, when in doubt, just go for it. Because chances are, you're not going deep enough anyways. Just go for it. Okay? If the person doesn't need CPR, don't do CPR on a hand. But if you need CPR, rather go too deep than not deep enough.
You were saying earlier 30 compressions in how much time? Like
120 compressions per minute. So,
2%.
yeah, so long time ago, we used to teach people, what's that song, Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. Yeah, we don't teach it anymore because the young kids, they don't know that song.
Okay. Just wanted to know exactly.
Yeah, you won't be doing this. You won't be,
No.
yeah, not like that.
That doesn't help.
Correct. Well, I wouldn't say it doesn't help, anything helps, but yeah, the proper technique is 120 compressions per minute. By the way, thank you for asking that question. I used to teach people to come up to my mannequin. This is before COVID. And I have this light here. Whenever it lights green, that means you go deep enough. If it's not deep enough, it's red. I don't do that anymore because I find that just because I ask people to come out and do it doesn't mean in real life when they help somebody they will go deep enough. So yeah, I don't bother that with that anymore. I just tell you guys, when in doubt, just go for it. Just go deep. Okay, so let's talk about this very quickly, and then we will go on a break. Remember, you approach the casualty, hey, are you okay? I'm a first aider, can I help you? You're actually doing three things at the same time. Hey, are you okay? So you're assessing whether the person is responsive. The second thing is, you're getting consent. Can I help you? Very important to get consent, okay? If you don't have consent, you cannot help the person.
But there is implied consent, right?
Absolutely.
The
Thank you for
person
that.
can't
Thank you for
answer.
saying that. He is unconscious. He cannot hear me. He cannot answer it. By law, I have implied consent to help him. Can you guys think of another situation where we have implied consent? Again, the first situation, unconscious adult. What's the second situation where you have implied consent?
Child.
Absolutely. You guys remember what the age of a child is?